Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Studio Live today and our review of the Apple September 2023 event. If it's your first time here, my name's Pete. This is Studio Live today. My goal is to help you create, record, and release your best music, and we do a lot of it using Apple products. So when Apple do an announcement, we break it down. We try to do it in a quick and simple way without all the superlatives and the hour and a half of different bits and pieces. So let's dive straight in, shall we, to what was announced, what was actually said at the Apple announcement. We'll spend about 10 minutes going through it in record speed, and then we'll have a little chat, and you can chime in and let me know what you thought about what went down. So we had our Apple event. I called it the iPhone 15 event because we kind of thought we were going to get an iPhone 15. Our buddy Tim Cook got up and talked about the fact that there would be two different things, the Apple Watch and the iPhone. And that's exactly what was spoken about. However, before that, we got a visit from Mother Nature, who dropped on by. I think that's actually Octavia Spencer, isn't it? But apparently, yeah, a Mother Nature, because Apple were talking a lot. A lot of the focus of this was about renewable and about the environmental impacts, the carbon neutral status of a lot of their products being updated. So I actually really liked it. We'll talk a little bit more about it later, but it's not related to the product. So let's dive into the products and then we'll spin back around to that. We have a new Apple Watch. There's all the specs. You can hit your pause button and check out all the specs if you'd like to see what it's all about. We have the Apple Watch Series 9, a new S9 SIP system in a processor. It's got the GPU and the CPU on there. Is there a lot new to the Apple Watch in terms of its actual functionality? No, apart from a new gesture. So now when you're wearing your Apple Watch, you can actually just tap your fingers together, and like magic, it will actually hit the main button on your Apple Watch. So I thought that was kind of cool. Outside of that, a slightly brighter screen and better screen, and that's about it. A lot of the same stuff is still there. We'll talk about a little bit more of the detail as we go through. What about the prices? Well, the SE still exists, the Series 2 SE from $249. There's your standard Apple Watch Series 9, which is going to be from $399 or $499 for the GPS version. The Apple Watch Ultra Series 2 is $799, which has, again, a few little tweaks, but fundamentally the same as the previous Apple Watch Ultra. If you are a sporty person, if you're climbing mountains and jumping off cliffs and doing all that stuff, the Apple Watch Ultra 2 might be for you. They're going to be available from September 22, but you're probably here to find out about the new iPhone, and this is what we're getting. Look at all those colors, all the colors of the bow, man. We've got the iPhone 15, and let's not bury the lead, shall we? Here's the specs. Jump in and take a look. Here's your pause button. So what is it? It is the iPhone 14 with Dynamic Island, USB-C charging, and a better camera. That's it. So, yeah, there's a lot of other information that Apple went into, but this is why you watch this version, and maybe you don't really need to watch the other version, because that's what it is. Slightly brighter screen, so you've got that 2000 nits of brightness. That's actually pretty good if, like me, you do a lot of creating on the go outside. You know what it's like when that glare hits your screen, you can't see anything. So you get the benefit of that. You've got the new camera, so 48 megapixel camera, and the chip in there is actually the A16 Bionic, which is the same chip as in the iPhone 14 Pro, which is what I am using right now, and it's great. It's an excellent chip. It's an excellent processor. It does all the things that you need it to do. USB-C we'll talk about a bit later in more detail. But yes, Apple have moved all of their phones from USB-C to Lightning, including their AirPods, which are going to be updated to USB-C. So finally, we're going to be in a world with Apple where we only have to carry one cable, or that's the intention once we move everything over. The iPhone 15 will start at $799 and the iPhone 15 Plus from $899. Let's talk Pro, shall we? Here is our Apple iPhone 15 Pro. It is made of titanium. Now, this may sound like something that's just a little bit of Apple speak, but if you've held the iPhone 14 or 13 Pros, they are chunky, they are heavy, and moving to titanium actually reduces that weight by apparently about 30%. So I'm a fan of that because carrying this thing around in my pocket, when I compare it to my 12, it's about twice the weight for the same Pro and the same size. So the guts in here is getting quite heavy, so that's pretty good. USB-C on this one as well, the brand new A17 Pro, which is the first 3 nanometer chip that Apple have produced and put in a device ever in anything. So that's pretty good for those people that love the chip manufacturing stuff. All the standard sort of stuff there. The couple of cool extra things that we had on here were the zoom. So you've got a 3 times optical zoom on the iPhone 15 Pro and a 5 times optical zoom on the iPhone 15 Pro Max. So we're back to having different cameras in the larger iPhone. You've got the dynamic island again, which is going to make it there. And spatial video is the other thing that's coming because, of course, we need 3D spatial video for the Apple Vision Pro, which is coming for us just around the corner. And our prices on those ones are $9.99 and $11.99, which is actually stable. That's probably the most surprising thing of all of this is that we haven't seen a drastic increase in prices, whereas everything else, I don't know if you've paid for a service or a product or anything anywhere in the world at the moment, it seems that prices are going up. Apple, to their credit, have managed to keep their prices down, and they're doing all this stuff while still reducing carbon emissions and doing a better job environmentally, which was a big focus. It's probably Apple's biggest focuses are health and environment, and this announcement was very much around the health side of things and the environmental impact. So there is your overview. That's all you need to know to get yourself going there. We've got brand new Apple iPhone 15, brand new Apple iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, and you've got those new Apple Watches, the Apple Watch Ultra 2 and your Apple Watch Series 9. So that's what we've got, and that's what you can take a look at if you would like to jump over to apple.com, or in my case, apple.com.au. Hello to the folks who are watching here live. We will now dive in and do that a little slower. I just know that there are some people that want just the facts, ma'am. Jump in, and in 7 minutes, there you go. You found out everything you need to know about what's been going down. Is this the amazing event that maybe some people hoped for? Well, no, but these devices are iterative. They're evolution, not revolution now. And I think that's the real key difference, is that none of these things are going to be earth-shattering. Like, the camera is going to get slightly better. And I think some of the zoom features and things in the cameras are pretty cool, but they're not going to be a game changer. The chips are getting slightly faster. We're not at the point now where brand new features. I guess the biggest thing we'll be talking about is the advent, or the inclusion of USB-C. And one of the cool things about USB-C is that the iPhone 15 Pro has USB 3 capability, which means you have the ability to actually have USB 3 speeds. If you weren't aware, USB-C is just the connector. It's how you connect it. But just like USB-A, our standard USB, there's different speeds. So different cables support different speeds. So you've got the option with that 15 Pro to have USB 3 speeds, which is very cool. We'll jump in and do our little overview here, our big one, and then we'll dive into the rest of this. So we have the Mr. Steve Jobs here. Not Steve Jobs. That's a slip, isn't it? Mr. Tim Cook jumped on and started talking about all of the options that we have here for the iPhone and the Apple Watch. As we talked about, the cool little video, I would recommend going and finding that one and watching that one if you have a chance to. That's a cool idea because it was actually a little bit of fun. There's all the specs for the Apple Watch, which we'll be talking through here, and just a jiffy. So we have the Apple Watch, the Series 9 there, which has the new Apple Silicon. Excuse me one moment here. My dog wants out, and I can't let it go one moment longer. Go. We call that professionalism. We'll cut that. That never happened in the other version. Yeah, good old Basil. People know Basil there. So let's talk about the Apple Watch. New Apple Silicon, the new S9 SIP, the CPU and the GPU update, 4-core neural engine, Siri on device now. So that's a pretty cool thing. You're going to be able to have your Siri not going up to the cloud if you're doing things like, have you ever had that problem where you try and set an alarm and it says, oh, I can't reach the internet right now. And you're like, I just asked you to wake me up at 7 a.m. Come on, Siri, get your stuff together. We've got health data. So you can now ask Siri, hey, Siri, am I okay? What's my heart rate? Which is cool. You can use the WatchOS 10 name drop feature. So you can send your contacts from one person to another using that. The ultra wideband chip is now available on the Apple Watch. So they showed how you can use your watch to find your phone and your phone to find your watch. So you get those cool directions coming through. The double tap, that's probably the biggest thing. The ability to have that little double tap, meaning that if you are hands-free, you don't have to find your watch face, you don't have to click your button. You can literally just have your phone in one hand and double tap in your other hand. So you can be using all your devices, all your Apple devices at once. It now comes in pink. And it was impressive that they are now 100% carbon neutral, which that little logo you can see there, the little carbon neutral logo, will be on all of those moving forward. What else do we have in here? The Apple Watch Ultra. So yeah, there's your prices. So that's the SE, which hasn't changed. The Series 9 retains that $399 price. And the Apple Watch Ultra, the only things that I kind of noticed here for the Apple Watch Ultra is the 3000 nits brightness. You can connect Bluetooth accessories. So for your cyclists, you can hook up to your crazy cycling tracking devices that I don't really understand. And you got 36 hours of battery on those because you got the big chunky battery. But is any of that really about music creation? Not really. There's one thing that I use my Apple Watch for my creation, and that's to take voice memos. So there is that. I suppose you can record your ideas while you're out on the go with your Apple Watch. Let's grab, they're available on the 22nd of September. iPhones, what have we got? So we talked about a little bit of this, but you got the dynamic island there. So that is we'll go to this screen. That is the replacement of the notch. So your older iPhones like the iPhone 12 and 13 had the little notch at the top. And last year, the iPhone 14 Pro had the dynamic island. We've now got that on the iPhone 14, iPhone 15 as well, the basic model. We've got 6.1 inch and 6.7 inch screens. Again, the screen brightness has been improved on these things, 1600 nits or 2000 in bright sunlight. Here's the thing. New contoured edges. So you'll know if you've been around the Apple world for a while, you'll know that every few years Apple change their design. So the current design has these sharp edges. So you've got the really sharp edges, which people have been saying, why are they not rounded like the old ones, like the sixes and the nice feel that you used to have on those? Well, that's because they had to change it to differentiate. And guess what? We're going back, folks. Yep, we're going back to those rounded, more subtle edges, which means they're going to feel nicer in the hand, I would say. We've got the A16 Bionic chip, which is again from the iPhone 14 Pro, which is cool. Portrait mode, so the camera's a 48 megapixel camera. It has portrait mode, which is an automatic portrait mode, which allows you to take a photo. You don't have to set portrait mode before you take the photo. You can go into photos afterwards. It captures all that information for you. One thing for creators and for people that are not so much for your recordings of music or anything, but the audio quality, so the voice isolation for phone calls is pretty cool. It just shows that Apple are actually putting more effort into how their chip is actually working there. The emergency SOS and the Find My, and they announced roadside assistance via satellite. So for America in particular, the US, the AAA, you are soon going to be able to call for assistance. If you are out of wireless range, but you can see a satellite, you're going to be able to use that not only in emergency situations, but in, hey, my battery's flat and I'm in the middle of Utah, please come and save me, which will be interesting. USB-C. So USB-C is replacing Lightning, which is expected. So if you don't know the backstory of this, USB-C, the European Union have said that all phones by I think the end of next year or need to be using a universal standard. They can't be using a proprietary connector, and that's what the Apple Lightning connector that we currently have is, a proprietary connector. So that's good news, but it also means that if, like me, you've got an awful lot of lightning cables and your whole setup and all your rigs is based on lightning, that'll be changing in the very near future. At least they're ripping the band-aid off. So I had fears that we would be seeing lightning on some models and USB-C on others, maybe on the Pro, but no, we've got USB-C on all of the new iPhones. So my overview here is if you've got a 14, if you're using a 14 Pro like me, am I jumping up to a 15 or a 15 Pro? Probably not. But if you're a couple of years ago, yeah, the benefits of the dynamic island, the better camera, and the USB-C connectivity, I think are actually genuine and worth the upgrade. If you're on, say, an 11 or a 12 or earlier, you'll get some value out of these ones. Yep, you can order them now, and they'll be available in a week. So 15th for pre-orders, 22nd for delivery. Let's talk Pro. The titanium, one of the lightest Pro models ever, or the lightest. The borders have been thinned down so that you've got a smaller form factor with a larger screen. The other thing that I missed, that I sort of skipped over in the quick preview, is the action button. So for the longest time, your iPhones have had the little slider switch on the side. So many of you will know that slider switch that just flicks you into silent mode, and it's an actual hardware switch that flicks back and forth. What we've got now on the iPhone 15 Pro is an action button. Ooh, action button. What actions can we do? Well, at the moment it's about 9. You can do things like make it be your camera. You can make it be the voice recorder. I think that's going to be, if I got an iPhone 15 Pro, I would change it straight to voice recorder so that when I'm out and about, I could just hit that action button and go sing in my little idea that I've got for a song, and then it's going to go straight to my voice recorder. So it's pretty cool. There's some accessibility options in there as well. So I think it will be a good thing. It's got the standby when on its side. So it basically turns into the world's most expensive alarm clock. If you put it on its side, it goes into standby mode so that you can use it as like a clock and an alarm and have your weather and your radio stations on there. So yeah, instead of a $20 Sony clock radio, it's a $2,000 clock. But no, it's cool because a lot of people like me put your phone up sideways next to your bed, and hey, now you can actually have a nice little standby mode on there. The A17 Pro chip, as I said, the 3 nanometer, the very first 3 nanometer processed chip in any device ever, I think, is what they were saying, at least for a consumer level. So that's pretty amazing. So that we're talking 3 nanometers. I'm putting my fingers close together as if I can actually show a nanometer, but think of a millimeter, then think of a nanometer, and then think 3 nanometers for yeah, it's ridiculous in terms of the size and how many transistors they can pack into these chips, and that's why they're more powerful than ever. USB 3 capability. Let's pause on that for a moment, because that's going to be the big difference between the iPhone 15 and the 15 Pro. And that is that if you are doing a lot of video and camera work, so videos and photos, and even audio, having USB 3 connectivity is going to be really good, because it's going to mean you're going to be able to transfer gigabytes and gigabytes of data at really, really high speeds. So I actually thought when they said, oh, we've got something good coming, something amazing for USB-C, I had a feeling that we'd be seeing, Thunderbolt on the Pro models like we have on the Pro iPads. They didn't quite go that far because Thunderbolt is even faster speeds for transfers, but the fact that they went USB 3, if you have a USB 3 cable, that's pretty darn cool. They talked about the optical zooms. Now, keep in mind, there are two, we're back to the point. So we're back to the point where your Pro and your Pro Max now have different cameras. So in the iPhone 13, this was the case, where your Pro Max had the camera capable of HDR and a lot better video options. Then in the 14, they put the same camera in both bodies. Here in the 15, they're back to the different cameras because they've got these brand new, now what was it called? I wrote it down, tetraprism lenses, which basically give you the ability to have a 3 times optical in the Pro and a 5 times optical in the Pro Max in a very small enclosure. And you can have up to like a 120 millimeter lens in that tiny little body of the Pro Max, which is pretty darn amazing. So yeah, the cameras definitely have had a big upgrade, and because a lot of us use our phones for shooting video, myself included, and for shooting photos, that becomes a pretty important thing. Because again, there's not much else that they can do. What else do you need your phone to do? When people are disappointed with these events, they're like, they didn't announce nothing. See, I asked the question, what do you want? What are you looking for? Like a flip phone, maybe? Like you want to completely change it and go down the Samsung and Google route and do the flips and the folds and the things? Maybe, but outside of that, there's not much else. Here's another cool thing for pro workflows. We finally have it, and this is giving me hope for future of audio creation as well. We finally have the ability to use an external drive. So if you're shooting ProRes video, sort of 4K up to 60 frames per second, you can now actually hook up an external drive and record directly to that. Because a lot of the challenges people are saying is, hey, if you've got a 256, 512, or even a terabyte in your phone, how are you going to store all of these ProRes video files that are taking like a gigabyte every 10 seconds? Well, yeah, now you can actually plug in an external SSD, chuck 4 terabytes on there, and then just start recording straight to that. So I thought that was a pretty cool feature of that one. And you're now going to be able to use the two of your lenses to do spatial video, which means that for all the thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of people that are going to own Vision Pro headsets early next year, yeah, you're going to be able to watch 3D video, which gives me hope. Because did you see the Vision Pro one where the dude was like staring at his child with the big goggles on taking video? Yeah, I knew that the new iPhone would have to replace that, because ain't no one chucking their headset on to watch their child blow out their candles and take creepy photos looking like a freak. Anyway, see, this is what you get on these shows. Apple wouldn't actually say that, but they said it without saying it. Yeah. All right. Let's just look at the final bits here. The prices: $9.99 and $11.99. Those are US dollars. So if you would like to check out all of the other details there, you can jump on to the Apple website, which we're going to do in just a jiffy. Hello to all the people here live. Thank you to the folks who are here early. We had some comments there from the early third-person productions. We're excited that new iPhones means new older ones are cheaper. Yes, that is one of the best things. The best announcements we get here is that older iPhones go cheaper. Because guess what? The 13s and the 14s are still amazing. They're really, really cool. So yeah, that's always what I say about these things. Even if there's nothing in these things for you, there's probably going to be something in there that is going to be good for you in the future. So if you are looking to buy a refurbished or even just an older model of something, yeah, then you're going to be okay. Does anyone have any questions? I would like you to throw those in the chat right now. We're just going to do the final thing we do on these shows is we go in and we go shopping. We go, what if I wanted to buy all the best of the best? We'll go and see what that is. Sebtex Cow says, yeah, why would you release a new iPhone? Well, yeah, it's the iterative thing, isn't it? It's to make sure that there is something new to buy, and that's why they changed the body so that you can see. Because if it looked exactly like the 14, then I wouldn't be able to flex on people by having my 15 with its new slightly rounded curves on the side. Maybe. Lights, camera, action button. Exactly. Has it got a translation matrix like the TARDIS? I mean, it's probably coming. Probably coming. SE second gen, iPhone 4 looks sweet right now for Mark Pro. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we didn't get so a lot of people were fearing that Apple would sort of add some weird Appleness to proprietariness, but it looks out of the box like, well, out of the box you probably get no cable. That seems to be how things go. But out of the box, any USB 3 USB-C cable will be able to get you those USB 3 speeds, which is pretty cool. Thomas says pretty sweet updates to the camera on both the regular and Pro models. Yeah, 48 megapixel camera, that three times optical or 5 times optical lenses, the macro modes. Yeah, everything is cool. Easier repair. So yeah, Apple are now sort of buying into the right to repair stuff, because A, they have to, and B, they want to. We hope that they want to. So it's very cool. So yeah, that's everything that you need to know. So again, 7 minutes worth of just the facts, ma'am. Putting the dog out, and then back to to another 15 minutes, and hopefully you found out everything you need to find out here. Should we dive in and go shopping? I'm keen for a quick shop, so let's jump in and go. I'm going to do it. I like doing it here in Australia because that's where I live. And I like people being shocked by how much extra we have to pay for our items here in Australia. So let's jump in here and have a look. So you can jump straight in and watch the event if you want to see the full hour and a half. I would skip through, watch the Mother Nature clip because it's actually really quite funny and I found it interesting. And then, maybe just skip the rest of it. Just watch this video again. But let's go shopping. So we'll jump in here to the store, the Apple Store. And we will improve our size. Let's jump in and grab a new iPhone, shall we? Let's go shopping. So we can pick the iPhone 15, or as a lot of folks have said, your 13s, your SEs, they're all still available. The other thing with the USB-C, they are actually changing the case for both the AirPods Pro. So the AirPods Pro that you buy now, the same ones that I use, these ones here, will now have a USB-C instead of Lightning, and the new AirPods versions will have USB-C as well. They didn't say whether someone like me can trade in or upgrade their case. Probably not. I'm probably a bit SOL, which as we know is sort of out of luck. And they didn't mention anything. I've got the trackpad and the Magic Keyboard here for my Mac, which are both Lightning as well. So I can only imagine that new versions of those will go to USB-C. But I ain't replacing mine. I only bought them 6 months ago. So, yeah, I'm still going to be in the Lightning world for at least a few years, as are many other folks, I'm sure. Let's jump in here. As you can see, the pricing for the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max is from $1,849 Australian. We do pay a little bit extra. So your Pro is going to be $1,849. Your Pro Max is going to be $2,199. Now, I usually go the Pro size, but I'm interested now because the Pro Max has the better camera. Let's buy ourselves a Pro Max, shall we? Colors, you can go grey, more different grey, bluer grey, and whitish grey. So yeah, 4 different shades of grey. I'll go the blue titanium because why not? You can see here your storage options go from the 256 up to 1 terabyte, and you do pay a substantial amount more. I normally go around that middle mark of 512. That's the sweet spot for me in terms of how much storage I need. You can trade in. I kind of buried the lead on that one, but if you've got an older phone, you can trade it in and you will get a trade-in on your phone, depending what it is. They said any iPhone 11 Pro or better is going to get a good trade-in, which means anything less than that, probably not so much. We'll go no trade-in, and we'll come down here. What do we have to do? Apple Care. We don't want Apple Care. There it is. $25.49 for everything that we have. And what's in the box? We do get a cable. Okay, we get the cable, but we get no brick. So we get a USB-C charge cable. And keep in mind that is a USB-C charge cable. That is not going to do your USB 3 speeds. That is just going to be USB-C. So you will need to buy a separate USB 3 cables. And they're not as expensive as Thunderbolt, but they're certainly not cheap. So do consider that if you want those higher speed transfers, you will need the USB 3 cable. Let's buy ourselves an iPhone 15 instead of the Pro. If you don't need all the Pro features and, you want a different color, you're probably going to want to go for the iPhone 15. They start at $14.99 or $16.49 for the Plus. And with this one, there is no difference. So there's no benefit going for the Plus apart from the larger size of the screen. The guts are exactly the same. 50 Shades of Boring. I mean, professionals don't want things that are fun and colorful. We just want things that are grey or more different grey. All right, let's grab an iPhone 15 this time, and we'll go the new pink color. That looks it's not the rose gold anymore, it's pink. These ones go from 128 up to 512. So again, 512 is still going to set you back a couple of grand. And again, with your trade-in, you can add that in there if you want to. But $2,000 here in Australia, around about 1,300 USD. And there's your USB-C charge cable. Same sort of deal. But don't worry, you you can't actually use USB 3 speeds anyway, so you won't need any more than the USB-C for your iPhone. We'll have a quick look at the watches. They're not really related to what we do around here, but they're handy if you're a mobile creator like me. You do use your watch for quite a few things. Even just to check the weather to make sure you can go for a walk while you're creating your latest masterpiece. But you have the new. If we order this one now, all of these are going to be available on the 22nd. So you've got the aluminium or the stainless steel finish there. So let's go. If we wanted to go the stainless steel again, gold, silver, and graphite, grey, gold. Yeah, okay. I won't do the grey joke. You got the two sizes still, the 41mm and the big chunk is 45mm, which is what I generally prefer. The other thing that they talked about is that no more leather. So if you're a hippie like me, that's a good deal. So no cows were harmed in the making of the Apple Watch anymore, which is kind of cool if you care about that kind of thing. So you've got a whole bunch of options there for your different bands that you can use. We've got no trade-in. Oh, hang on, I've not selected something. What have I not selected? Stainless steel, link bracelet. There you go. There's our color. And no trade-in. Oh, actually, I could actually trade in my phone, my watch. There you go. So about $2,000 for a nice looking graphite Apple Watch, and that's not even the Ultra. So yeah, it's probably not something that I'm going to be racing out and buying. I actually love the Apple Watch SE. If you're looking for my advice, I won't even price the Ultra because they're just so expensive, and it's not for me. But the Apple Watch SE is actually a really good device. I use it on the daily. It's attached to my watch 24/7, and you'll be able to order that. The newer, is it? I don't think they've actually upgraded anything in the Apple Watch SE. Not that I saw there, but you can go ahead and order that one if you're like. Question from Amelia: can we work on projects, either GarageBand or Cubase 3, on external drives with the iPhone 15 Pro Max? Yeah, so there was scant details. I think Mark Brose said here in the live chat that was a little disappointing that there wasn't a lot of detail around iOS 17 or iPadOS 17 and some of those newer features. I guess the point was that they covered them at WWDC, the Worldwide Developers Conference. But we didn't get a whole lot of information about what that means. But the fact that it's possible now to record video directly to a USB drive, you've got to hope that there's options to be able to do that. Especially if you're using a device that has a lower amount of storage, it would be handy to just be able to hook up and use even your Logic Pro or your GarageBand or your Cubase projects and have them stored, those larger projects that might be several hundred megabytes on an external drive and work on them. We haven't been told yet, but hopefully we'll find out in the future. I'm sure someone will be testing it once it is released in a little while, because that's the thing. They didn't talk about the software at all. So usually they'll specify when the OSs will be released. But given that these new devices will ship on the 22nd, it means that iOS 17 has been finished because it'll be on those devices. So iOS 17 we would expect to be available to download and use on all your current devices as of the 22nd of September as well. Yes, finally, thank you for the reminder. Appreciate that, Thomas. I did have this as the very last thing on my list here, but I'd forgotten to jump over to it. iCloud Plus now has new plans that you can pay for, which are 6 terabytes and up to 12 terabytes as well. So that's a pretty cool option for someone like me. I'm already at 4 terabytes, so I pay for the Apple Plus, and then I also pay for the Cloud Storage Plus again, because I've got myself and all my family with all of our devices and all of the stuff that I do. I have way more than 2 terabytes requirement now, so I've got 4 terabytes. But it will be cool to be able to just remove one of those perhaps and maybe just bump up to higher. But I'd suggest that the Apple One plan will still keep the 2 terabytes, and then you'll have to add on the 2, 6, or 12 separately. They haven't announced exactly how that'll work, but I'm sure it'll be something along those lines. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with me here today. I wanted to keep this short and sharp and shiny. But if you do have questions, if you've got comments, if you've got your feedback, I'm sure people have their opinions on this. Please drop those down in the comments down below if you would like to find out more information about all of the stuff that Apple are doing with this update and this release. Only one thing to do here. Don't forget, it is Songtember. So I know that some folks that watch these videos are maybe not into the actual music creation, but if you are, or if you just want to see what folks are creating for Songtember, which is our Song in a Month challenge, you can jump on over to studiolivetoday.com/Songtember, and all the information is over there ready and waiting for you. So let's just go out by making sure that we're going to send you over, because our friend Jade Starr, if you're watching this one live, is doing some recording today. She's actually recording drums on a song that I am doing for my Songtember song. So I will set that one up there now to make sure that at the end of this show, if you're watching live, you'll jump over there, and in about 20 minutes time, Jade will be recording that. Thank you all for being here. If you're watching live, or if you're watching on the replay, or you're listening to this on the special edition podcast version, thank you. Please give a thumbs up if you found this interesting. If you find it really boring, you can give a thumbs down. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. But thank you, and I hope you found this a little bit more to the point and entertaining than perhaps watching the whole hour and a half. Please be kind to yourself, folks. Be kind to others. Keep creating, and I'll see you next time here on Studio Live Today.